I don't have my mic. Oh. I don't have my mic with me, so you get bad audio quality at the front of this. But one thing I hate about living in Vegas, I see the stupid Trump building too often anytime I go more than like 5 miles from home. But also, I found out, oh god, the window's so dirty, you can't even see it. You see that white sign over there? You see that? Next to the nail salon? That's fucking Trump store. Next to a Thai place. Listen, dirty window, you're ruining my clip. The audacity to have a Trump store in, first of all, in general, but to have it next to a Thai restaurant, like Thailand, like brown people restaurant, and a nail salon. Send help. Hello, I have a mini book haul for you. My partner got a couple of books. I don't know what he did with them, so you're just getting mine. I went to Savers. I have heard through the grapevine in certain areas, I assume bigger cities, and I'm currently in a bigger city, that Savers has good book sections. And I will say this one had a decent one. They had a couple like dark romance that if they had not been on KU, I might have bought them. Like they had what is it, the Chantal Tessier, The Sacrifice, is that the first one? They had that. They had a couple other ones. But they also were like incredibly overpriced for like damaged books. Like water damaged books were like $5. And I was like, on what planet are you charging more than $1 for that? Actually, just go put it in a little free library. What in the capitalism is going on here? But anyway, I got 5 books that were not damaged. The first one being Raven, the untold story of Reverend Jim Jones and his people. If you didn't know, this guy is a cult leader. If you've ever heard the term drinking the Kool-Aid, that's him. He is the one who did that. He started an infamous cult. There's so many photos in here of things that he did. There he is. And I was just saying to my partner, I've never seen like young pictures of Jim Jones. I've only ever seen the ones of when he was older, like right before he died, when he took his cult out of the country because America was like onto him. And this book is huge, but also if you've been here around here for a while, you know that I love learning about cults and cult tactics and everything. So I was like, I will do this for $4. I will say most of the books seem to be in like the $3 or $4 range. There were some like $5 or $6, mainly the ones they knew were popular, like the book talk-esque books. Like there was Haunting Adeline there as well. But yeah, that was the first book that I got. That is enormous, and I don't know when I'm going to read that, but I will try. We have When They Call You a Terrorist, a Black Lives Matter memoir by Patrice Kahn-Kohlers and Isha Bandel, with a foreword by Angela Davis. Anything that has Angela Davis's name on it, I will buy. This was $3, and it was about Black Lives Matter, and that was all I needed to know to buy it. We have Mask Off, J.J. Bola, by J.J. Bola, Masculinity Redefined. And this is written by a black man talking about masculinity, which I find very interesting and is a subject that I want to look more into. I'm very excited. Masculinity is perceived to be toxic, fragile, and in crisis. Sounds interesting. Then I have The God Delusion. I feel like I've heard of this. And from the back, I am getting the impression that he is not in favor of religion, which is the side of the spectrum I am on. So I'm hoping that what this is about, because it literally says atheists will love his incisive logic and rapier wit. And theists will find few better tests of the robustness of their faith. So I feel like this is just him talking about why humans believe in a god or gods, and I am interested in that subject. And then I have Under the Banner of Heaven, which I've definitely heard of. This is a cult. I believe it's a Mormon cult. So that's where it was. 40,000 Mormon fundamentalists still practice polygamy. Is this one in Utah? I know it's something about killing a child. So yes. Cult books, mostly. Cult and religion, and Black Lives Matter is my little mini Savers haul. Also, anybody buying clothes from Savers, I don't know if the prices have gone up or what, but compared to any other thrift store I've ever been in, their prices were insane. Like a pair of shorts was like $7 or $8, and I was like, at least in my experience. So don't hit the mic. In my experience, back in Ohio, the pair of shorts would have been like maybe $3, possibly $4, $5 on a like no deal day at any thrift store in Ohio. So charging $8 for a pair of like jean shorts that is used and clearly beat up. Are you okay, Vegas? But yeah, that was my book haul. I haven't read anything since finishing Atmosphere. I also haven't filmed anything. I think I filmed a handful of clips of when we were just out, and that's about it. But I have just started A People's History of the United States. I know that this is very popular on TikTok. I know a lot of people read this aloud and the things in it on TikTok. I thrifted this quite a while ago before the current regime, or like briefly after. So I read the first couple pages, and I'm going to go sit out there with my partner. We're going to read for a little bit, and I'm going to try to get into this. As far as reading for the rest of the week, I have no idea. I'm also like filming a little short, like of things that I've read this week, and I haven't read anything in 2 days. So we need to go read something. Goodbye. Momo, be so for real right now. No fighting, children. We're gonna read. Okay. Momo, can I have my book? No, okay. Hey, hi, hello. It is Saturday. I think I've realized what my reading slump was about. I think it's because when I am in stages of being, this is terrible lighting, in stages of being more politically and like socially aware of what's going on in the world, I want to read nonfiction. Because even the fiction I'm reading, I'm only interested in like historical fiction right now. So if you have a favorite historical fiction book, specifically if it has to do with slavery or about natives or queer people in the past in history of some kind, I've noticed that like all of, if not most of my favorite books of the last little while have been historical fiction. Even like Bloom was Western, sapphic. And obviously Atmosphere that I just read last week, sapphic and historical. But yeah, I'm currently reading A People's History of the United States. I'm annotating it quite a bit. I don't have tabs yet. I will probably go back and tab it. And I'm already like, I've read 75 pages since last night. And like 20 of those pages was right before I went to bed. So like, I think I'm in a historical and like history in general nonfiction mood. So this vlog is probably going to follow that more so than the fiction that I normally read. So if you're a nonfiction reader or you wish you were, please let me know. Because that's probably what this vlog's going to be about. So I hope you enjoy. I will probably come back and talk about a few of the things that I've read so far in this later. My partner's currently taking a nap. I'm not going to wake him up. So I'm filming a quick clip. Yeah, that's my update of the realization that I came to. Hello, long time no talk. It's been like a full, possibly 2 days because it's the end of Monday. And I've done nothing today but watch YouTube. So we're actually going to sit here and read because, oh, why is their pages folded down? I am 289 pages into A People's History of the United States, and that's really far considering this is a approachable but somewhat dense book about American history. And the main thing I've noticed, because this is the only thing I seem to be interested in reading right now, is that I think I mentioned this in the one other clip that I've taken, like vocally, is that it feels like when I am like super, not only socially, but like culturally and like emotionally aware of all of the insane things that are going on in the world, I want to read nonfiction so that I don't feel crazy. Is the only way I can think to describe it, because fiction feels like unhelpful. Not that I am not one of the people that thinks fiction is like But yes, obviously, most of what I read is fiction, but I do get on big nonfiction kicks. And the other one I had where I was reading like nothing but nonfiction was at the very beginning of the year when Trump first got elected. So I'm learning a lot about history and annotating it. I actually do need to get page flags. I just ordered some and they came in the mail today. I also ordered some peacholani and they dropped half of them on the ground. So like 3 of them were dented and I had to like shotgun them into another glass. So that was fun. I can't blame the Amazon workers. I know they're overworked and they have like hundreds of stops per day, but yeah, I'm going to sit here and read this. The only downside is that I am technically reading slower, even though I'm reading this dense nonfiction, like history book, quickly. My reading pace is still slower because there's so many words on a page compared to a lot of the fiction that I read, because that's just how publishing works right now a lot of the time. So within an hour, I'll read like maybe 30 some pages as opposed to like easily several pages a minute that I would with fiction. So that is the downside, but it is the beginning of a new reading month, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. I also was supposed to film my wrap up today, and that didn't happen, so I don't even think I have enough sunlight left to like try and quickly run through last year, like within the next hour. I could. That would be fun, filming it outside. I don't know that I want to do that though. I also never filmed a wrap up for July, so I have 2 months of books to wrap up, but I also haven't read very many books in those 2 months, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I more want to read, and considering I just like kind of got myself out of a reading slump, I feel like it is more conducive to be in the reading mood and actually do the reading than to force myself to film. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. So yeah, I'm gonna read. Goodbye. Hello, long time no talk. It's been, I don't even know, 2 or 3 days since I last talked to you. Which, if you're watching this in the future when it eventually gets uploaded next week, I missed a Friday upload. That's just going to happen sometimes. I've had a rough week. I might get into it later, but I'm not doing it right now. What I am going to do is update you on the books that I have acquired in the last few days in a little bit of retail therapy, but cheap retail therapy because thrifting, besides this one. I picked up Atmosphere, which, if you saw my vlog from, was that a week or two ago, where I read this and sobbed my eyeballs out over it. These are $18 at Costco. For reference, on Amazon, I believe it's 19 something, about 20 bucks. And buying it anywhere else, it's like $20 to $25. So 18 to me was a steal. Is that more than I would normally spend on a book? Yes. Do I have a Costco membership? And so I got to take advantage of the discount. Also, yes. But yeah, I plan to, maybe even in this vlog, since I have another week to film for it. I think I only had like 20 minutes of footage, and I usually wait until I have like at least 40. So we might end up with a kind of very long vlog for next week, but maybe I will show you some of me transferring my annotations to the physical copy because it's going to be on my favorite books of the year. And then I went to Savers while we were out door dashing and taking a break from that. And I picked up 5 books, which I don't know if this is all places, but Savers, ooh, I feel like that's bad mic placement. Savers around here in Vegas have, if you buy 4, you get a book free. So I pretty much always get 5 when we go. And last haul that I did, I think it was earlier in this video. God, that feels so long ago. The last haul that I did was all nonfiction. This is all fiction. So we have Rainy Patel in Full Effect by Sonia Patel, which is an American Library Association William C. Morse Debut Award finalist. I know nothing about this. It says it deals with racism, and I believe, what else did I read on here? I think it's also feminist. I read the word patriarchy, and that's what sold me. It was also $2.99. So I'm going to give it a shot. I don't know anything about it, besides the fact that I tried to pick up books by non-white authors when I see them for cheap. And then we have Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour. This is a Nina LaCour I don't think I know. Or if I do... Wait, is this the ghost one? I think I did read this one. I will definitely have to check Goodreads. This is the one that I actually really enjoy. But I'd never seen this cover, so I was like, is that a new Nina LaCour? Because I went through a phase a couple years ago where I just read all of her books. Because they're like sad, sapphic books. And I've never seen this cover. So I think this might be the one that I actually really liked. I'll get back to you on that. Because if it is the ghost one, I really enjoyed the book. Because it had paranormal elements. Can you tell I haven't talked to the camera? I'm like tripping over my words. And this was also $2.99. I also believe this was my free book because they take off the cheapest book for your free one automatically. And then I found a special edition. We have the Kiss Countdown, which I have heard of. And even when I do find special editions, especially thrifting, I'm like, okay, does this actually sound interesting and would I read it? And if that's the case, then yes, I do pick it up. And this one actually does. But also, look at that. That's so pretty. And it was $4. And I don't think Savers knows that special editions in general go for much higher than that. I don't know how much this one specifically does. I do actually intend to read it, and then I may resell it in general for a not stupidly high price, as a lot of resellers with special editions do. What is this? Afterlight. It's an Afterlight exclusive. Why does that sound familiar? Is that a Lumicrate one? Or is it I don't know. I used to know the special edition, like boxes and stuff. I do not anymore. This sounds like fake dating. And that's kind of all I needed to know. But also, this edition is beautiful, and I was very excited to get it for $4. Then we have a book I have been honestly on the fence for whether or not I was going to read it, and I've had the library hold twice, and I never get around to it because I'm really bad at reading ebooks from my library when I have a bunch of KU books out. Like right now I'm in the middle of all the Dungeon Crawler Carl books, and I have a really hard time focusing on the library holds, and then my hold lapses, and then I can't read it, and then I'm back on the holds list, and that keeps happening with this book in particular. And that's The Compound by Ainsley Rawle. This is supposedly, is this the Love Island book? There's cameras catching her at all angles. The world inside is falling apart. This has been making the rounds on BookTube, and I'm actually very interested in it because I like the idea of reality TV books, but I don't like reality TV myself. So if you are somebody who has read this, you can let me know if I will enjoy it based on the premise that I don't like actual reality TV. Let me know. Because I was actually very excited to find this for $4. And then we have The Sweetness of Water by Nathan Harris. And I believe this is Civil War. Yep. Emancipation Proclamation. Forbidden romance between two Confederate soldiers. basically all I know. I've been trying to get more into historical fiction, and this seems like it is told from a black person's perspective, which is my preferred historical fiction, is either make it people who are queer or people who are not white. What is this guy is from the University of Texas. So that is the last book that I picked up, and this one was $5. I also know that these are very expensive to buy anywhere. Like this retails for $28, and we got it for $5. And it's also a subject I'm very interested in. But yeah, those are the books that I've picked up in the last couple of days. I'm sure I have other updates, but I'm in the middle of laundry and my alarm's about to go off, so I will update you later. Because we also did a Costco run. I got a bunch of Filanis. We'll probably talk about that later. I'm going to see Hamilton tonight at they're showing it in movie theaters. So not the actual show, which I did see a couple of months ago, but I'm very excited about it. It's been quite a while since I've been in a movie theater. I think the last time was Wicked. So we'll see. I'll update you later. I remember what the other thing I was going to say was before I go switch to the laundry. I did pick up a few clothing items at Savers, which normally I don't because I've been a couple of times while I've been out here. Maybe it's just a Vegas thing, but I feel like a lot of their clothes are overpriced. I don't know why a tiny little pair of like jean shorts should be $9, or even like a pair of like just comfy little shorts, $8-9. Bro, that's not very much fabric, and you are a thrift store. What? But also their t-shirts were on sale. They were all like half price, and I own a lot of t-shirts. I like a nice like passive aggressive or like cute t-shirt, and I picked up a few of them. They are currently in the wash because thrift stores, please wash your thrift clothes. You never know, especially in the midst of another big COVID outbreak. But yeah, I will show you those later when they get out of the wash and they hang dry and everything. And I think that's it for now. I will remember to update later. Goodbye. Another thing I've been dealing with recently is I posted my deconstruction video on Wednesday, a couple days ago from the time that I am filming this clip. And I've gotten flack for a lot of deconstruction stuff that I post on TikTok, but I don't know what it is. I've heard TikTokers say this who have tried to pivot to YouTube, who are like, YouTube comments are so much meaner. And I'm like, I feel like TikTok comments are really rough, especially when you're in the deconstruction community. I don't know if it's worse over here. And the complete, like, utter lack of understanding the video of you, like, people commenting that you very clearly can tell did not watch the video or did not understand a single thing that you said, who are just here to like argue in the comments, and then you click on their profile and they have like 3 subscribers and they've had this channel for maybe 2 years, and all they do is argue with people in YouTube comments and insult you because you're not a Christian, even though that's not what the video was about. That comment section in my deconstruction video is rough. And I also know that engagement is like good in general on YouTube, but also I have been fielding comments from like absolute dude bro, some of them kind of incoherent, of like, stop centering the Christians. I'm not centering Christians. I'm asking them to take accountability. Tell me that you didn't watch the video without telling me. So yeah, I've had a really rough time with the comment section in general. I don't know how a lot of you big YouTubers do this, because I'm exhausted and I've had to deal with like maybe 10 trolls. And I'm already like, go back to your side of the internet. Please stop that. Nobody asked you to debate me on biblical theory in this comment section when all I said was, hey, you misunderstand what a lot of people in the deconstruction community are saying. That's all I said. But yeah. If anybody else has had to deal with that in YouTube comments or TikTok comments, because I've also had to deal with it over there, let me know how you deal with them. All right, this mic has been fussy lately. Anyways, good morning. I am making some chorizo tacos. I like to meal prep these, and I'll make like 2 little chorizo things at once, and then dip these in the juices. I'll show you later if I can remember. And then I eat off of them for breakfast for like 2 or 3 days, which is about 2 tacos per day. And they're very filling, and I put them with avocado. But today is Sunday. I'm not doing a whole lot today. I think I'm going to try to read because I really didn't read very much the last few days. I'm also like dealing with so many troll comments on my deconstruction video. I also realized that I was apparently very spoiled being on booktube, specifically when it comes to YouTube. I have heard that other things, especially when it comes to deconstruction or like anything to do with Christianity, because it's such a male dominated patriarchal thing, that comment sections in other forms of YouTube besides booktube, which has been a very chill community for the most part that I've been a part of for the last 8 years, are horrific, especially in the current political climate. I have upwards of 20 angry men in my deconstruction video just losing their absolute minds, and I keep waking up to like a comment or two every morning about why I should shut up, basically. And how I can't talk about my experience because I just want to sin. And that's why I must have left the church. So yeah, that's what I've been dealing with. I didn't think it could get worse than all of the crap I was getting on TikTok on my UPCI specific video talking about NAYC. Apparently I was wrong. Even posting that here, I didn't have that many issues. Something about the word deconstruction like really triggers the white men in the comments to like attack any woman who dares to speak about it or asks the church to be accountable to any of the damage they've ever caused. So I'm not having a good time with that. It has also like put me off a little bit of wanting to post deconstruction comments. I might just keep my opinions in my vlogs in a less accessible way for men to come and attack me for a little while until they leave me the fuck alone. That's where I'm currently at, in my opinion, with that. But yeah, I'm making breakfast, meal prepping breakfast for the next couple of days. If I have any other thoughts, I'll let you know. But yeah, we've got some chorizo tacos. I'm browning the last one, and we're gonna add some avocado to it. That is my morning. I don't know. Again, I think I've already said this. I don't know that I'm getting up to anything too exciting the rest of the day. I do have to finish like some laundry. It's Sunday. I'm gonna relax. I'm also like gonna chill out on the deconstruction content here. If that's something you're interested in, please let me know because I would like to find another format to do it in. I don't know if it was my thumbnail that like Theo Bros go out looking for certain thumbnails and stuff for certain things that are specifically like deconstruction leaning. I know that's a thing on TikTok, like active Christians who are participating in American Christianity will go looking in deconstruction spaces just to debate with people. So I imagine it's not really any different here on YouTube. But also, I'm getting a taste of the YouTube comments are meaner crowd. And I was not prepared. I also just feel like a whole lot of this, especially with some of the comments I've gotten, are people who, one, don't know that scrolling is an option, which is something I've never understood about people on the internet. I was like, I get it. You disagree with me. There's nothing I can say that is going to change your mind. Why are you debating? I swear people have just forgotten that they don't have to engage with people that they disagree with. And I don't understand the satisfaction that people seem to get out of debating with people who like very much disagree with them and they're never going to see eye to eye on things, especially when it's things like human rights and stuff. Like people are not going to compromise on things like that. Like I have so many people going, oh, you just wanted to leave the church because you wanted to be gay and sin. And I was like, yeah, that must be it. Or I get people defending the queer people clobber verses of like man must not lie with a man, which was literally mistranslated, and they're like, no, the Bible's infallible. When I argue it, it's infuriating to argue with a lot of these people who are just basically they basically have a lack of understanding of, I don't know how to word it. It's like literally, I think it's a form of the media crisis, media literacy, because people not only are not understanding the words that are coming out of people's mouths, but they don't know how to interpret it, which is something you are literally taught in schools, or at least we used to be taught in schools. I will form more coherent thoughts on that later. Let me finish my food. Okay, somehow here my mic decided to connect to my partner's phone. Do I know how? No. Do I understand the technology when it's wired into my phone? Also no. But what I was talking about here is that I literally had people come into my comment section on that video saying you said a lack of cognitive dissonance, so your whole video doesn't make sense. And I was like, you watched a 6-minute video and that was your only takeaway. Like people are acting as if what I posted was rage bait instead of just sharing my experience and how I think the church could work on a lot of things in order for people to think of Christianity as a good thing again. Because the reason so many people are leaving is because we're like, we don't understand why people are leaving. And when the people who have left tell you, oh, this is why I left, they go, no. This is the final product of the chorizo tacos that I will eat for breakfast. I'm going to put some avocado on them and I'm going to eat. And then maybe I'll go screenshot some comments so people know what I'm talking about. No, but for real, why are there so many pigeons? What do you want? Oh, what do they want? I don't have my mic, but I need everybody to know that the pigeons are sexist. Literally, the second my partner came out here, they all flew away. They did not care that I was out here. I don't know how I feel about that. Momo, be so for real. Please do not hunt the pigeons. Hello from Freshly Showered Me. If you can hear the fan in the background, no, you can't because it's humid in there. But I wanted to do a quick little commentary on something that I've been thinking about. So I went and saw Hamilton. I think I got a clip from it in theaters. And apparently Hamilton has been going through the ringer of people are saying it's the 10th year anniversary. And people are saying it was written for a much more optimistic time, which I don't disagree with. But also there are a lot of people who are having issues with it and like saying it romanticizes the founding fathers, which it does in some ways. But I also think a lot of people are having trouble with the concept of, I think this falls under the category umbrella of media literacy, of just because a work of any kind portrays somebody as a good guy does not mean that you are supposed to agree with them. And my best example of this that I can think of off the top of my head is Dear Evan Hansen. People hated that musical because they felt like they couldn't root for Evan. And I would argue that's the entire point of the musical. You are not supposed to agree with what he is doing. They are just showing you the storyline of what could happen to somebody who does this and how it blows up in their faces if you're familiar with that show. The same thing could go for any sort of book that you read that has a main character that you don't necessarily agree with or that is doing horrible things. I know one off the top of my head that is very popular is My Dark Vanessa. That is about a girl who was a victim of sexual assault by somebody who was an adult while she was a child, and she has convinced herself that it was a consensual relationship, ignoring the fact that there is no way that it could have been. And I feel like that diminishes a lot of media if you think of it in that perspective of realizing that some works aren't just meant for you to agree with the main character. And I think going back to Hamilton, one thing I really appreciate is that TikTok trend of, I'll try and get a screenshot of it if I remember, the TikTok trend of all the girls dressed up as Hamilton with Best of Wives and Best of Women that was like all over the internet for for weeks, and has come back on my timeline because I had to show them to my partner so he knew what I was talking about when I showed him the video of Lynn doing it at the movie premiere in New York. And one thing I really appreciate about that trend in particular is that the whole point of the trend was that Alexander Hamilton was kind of a dick and hated his wife. Like, he treated his wife really badly. Not only did he cheat on her, but he would like try and sneak out and like all kinds of other things behind her back. And while the show portrays Hamilton almost as like a host unto himself and like this great person who did all of these great things for the country, that doesn't mean he was a good person and that everybody agrees that he was a good person. He was a very flawed person who did do these things. And I feel like that also deals with the concept that history is written by the winners. They were the people who won the, for lack of a better term, genocide of the natives. They won their uh, independence from England. They won their ability to govern, but at what cost? I would argue that most people recognize that, but I think a lot of people also don't because they've never learned to not only interact with the content, but to see the content as what it is, a historical document of what happened and what we know about these people, as well as Lynn's interpretation on top of that. But again, with the trend online, the whole idea is that these girls dressed as Alexander are sneaking out and like being mean to their wife, which is honestly what actually happened, and are painting him in a different light. And I appreciate that the people who did this trend, I feel like most of them understand that. Or even, I know there was also a whole trend of men dressed up as Eliza doing that scene, but I feel like that in particular is all the comments are like hating your wife, final boss, and stuff like that. Like, I feel like the people that did this trend often get that Hamilton is not a good person. But a lot of people that watch the show relate to him in somehow and think, oh, he must be a good person. And I feel like that's just a misunderstanding the point of the show. From my perspective and the way that Lynn has talked about it, he wanted to write a historical musical, which, yes, does paint them in a good light, but also what he did was cast an almost entirely non-white cast so that people, especially younger people who were growing up, would have this type of people to look up to, of almost a alternate reality, if you want to call it that, of anybody could do this too. Not the genocide part, hopefully, but like it's a type of representation that didn't exist of brown people in those roles, in founding father roles. And a lot of people who were in the show talk a lot about that, about how powerful it was to have an almost fully black or brown cast, and what a difference that made in their lives being in that community and doing this show that became so popular across all sorts of swaths of different type of people. But yeah, I also did say, and I think it ties into this, I am probably going to wait till tomorrow, but I will end up doing the screenshots of the deconstruction video that I did and talking about some of those comments, because I feel like a lot of that also falls under media illiteracy. If people watch like 30 seconds to a minute of whatever the video or movie or show is and go, oh, well, I disagree with this thing and I'm going to tell you the 16 reasons why. And I'm like, that doesn't help conversation. You also always have the ability to just scroll, which I feel like people on TikTok in particular truly forget sometimes. I cannot imagine interacting with people on the internet, especially strangers on the internet. You want to confront your friend who said something racist or something wrong, go right ahead. But strangers on the internet and seeking stuff like that out, especially when it doesn't pertain to you, is wild to me. But yes, that's my little TED talk of the night. I'm gonna go finish reading. Hello, long time no talk. I have been recovering from the chaos that was last week, but I finally finished People's History, which I think I've been reading. I think it only took me 9 days, which, considering how long this is, there's like a literally whole 100 pages of bibliography at the end. But it is actually, I believe, 689 pages. And I read it in 9 days. And this is how I know I was in the mood for nonfiction. I'm also thinking about doing a 24-hour readathon, and for my brain to be able to do that, I had to finish this book. So that was definitely a motivating factor. I also annotated the absolute crap out of this book. There's a lot of, where are all my writing things? I wrote so much stuff in here. But it's also 700 pages. So yeah, I'm also thinking about filming an updated annotate with me, or like how I annotate, because mine is from like I think 5 years ago, if not 6. How long have I had this channel? 8 years, and I took like a 1.5 year break. Jesus. But yeah, I finished People's History. I think I'm going to keep this vlog going. My goal is to finish this in the next 2 days. And then I'm going to upload it, and then I might do a 24-hour reading vlog, like an actual 24-hour one, not the like stop and start timer. We'll see. I'm not very good at staying up for 24 hours, but I am, I think, about 50% into The Butcher's Masquerade, which is book. God, which one are we on? Are we on 5 or 6? I am 48%, 5, book 5 of Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I'm 48% into this, and I also read it pretty fast. So my goal is to finish this by tomorrow. We'll see if that happens. If not, I will carry it into the next weekly vlog. But if you would like to see a 24-hour reading vlog, please let me know. But I said earlier that I was going to show you guys the shirts that I got at the thrift store. And I finally got them out of the wash and everything. It says thoughts and prayers, and then it says vote for like books for Black Power, for our ovaries, and for the gays. This is the type of passive aggressive t-shirt that I love. I also just have a lot of ones that are queer representative. This was my favorite find personally, and it says the original influencers, and it's the Sesame Street characters. Which, if you've been keeping up with what's going on in the news about how the leader of the regime has canceled PBS's funding, specifically Sesame Street in general has been speaking out against it. And so finding this in the thrift store for like $2 felt like a sign from the universe that I needed to read this. I did grow up on Sesame Street, not nearly as much as a lot of other shows, because there were a lot of weird shows on the airwaves. I was going to say the internet. The internet was not really that much of a thing when I was super young. But I did watch quite a bit of Sesame Street, and the fact that they keep saying that Sesame Street is woke baffles me. Sorry that them teaching you not to treat other people like crap is woke, apparently. But yeah, those are my 2 thrift store finds. I also got a sweatshirt, but that's not nearly as exciting. I just needed more long sleeves. Mainly because me and my partner are considering moving again. There's a lot of factors that go into this, specifically financially. Maybe I will get into that at some later date. I know we just moved. I also know that I didn't explain a whole lot about it on purpose, because I try not to share like stuff like that online. I might be opening up more about it because a lot of it has to do with the politics of what's going on. But I think that's my little update for now. I am probably going to spend most of the evening reading this. I'm catching up on YouTube. I also, this is a weird little aside, I also like, I've been stuck at, I think it's like 578, 580, and then I'll like gain 2 followers, lose 2, gain 2, lose 2, and I've been stuck at that for the last like 2 years. And I know a big part of it was because I stopped posting, so YouTube stopped recommending my stuff, but I also started doing shorts content, and I feel like that has helped the algorithm pick up my stuff a little bit. So even like gaining a handful of subscribers, like the 4 or 5 that I've gained in the last couple of days, means a lot to me, who's trying to like share more of my life on the internet, especially with trying to be consistent with the weekly vlogs, which I did miss last week, but that's gonna happen every once in a while. But if you are not subscribed and you made it this far into the video, please go down and subscribe. I know it's gotten harder and harder for people to get subscribers specifically on YouTube. It's way different than how it was when I first started like 8 years ago. and I'm struggling with the learning curve, but I'm trying to do the consistency and the times to upload and all of that. So if you've appreciated the efforts and enjoy my content at all, I would really appreciate you subscribing. And I'm going to try to get better at reminding people to do that and mentioning it in videos, because I never think to do it, because that was not a thing that a lot of people did back in my day on YouTube. But yeah, that's my little update for now. I think I'm at least going to film that clip of talking about some of the comments on my deconstruction video, which I know I've mentioned in this. I need to actually go back and edit a lot of this vlog so I remember what I even talked about, because it's been like ongoing for 2 weeks and I don't even remember what the beginning of it was, but I do know part of it was about the comments on my deconstruction video. So I will probably go over some of those and then wrap this up at some point between today and tomorrow, and then start a new vlog, whether it's the 24-hour one or a weekly. You'll know before I do, probably.
Okay, so next up, the reason why I need to show you the physical copy of House of the Beast is because this is written by Michelle Wong, who is the graphic novel illustrator.
We're about to see how this mic does with wind, because it's quite windy out here, but I said I was going to talk about those comments from my deconstruction video, so I'm going to roll through a couple of them. I will put them up on the screen so you can see them. I'm reading them off of my iPad. Sorry, I got distracted by the dog who came to say hi. So one of the comments, I'll go from like most normal, what I expect for any deconstruction video. If you exist on like X church internet in general, you will probably get a lot of these. And the first one being the deconstructors. I have church hurt, and then the church hurt. Some guy said Jesus loves you. That's on par for deconstruction internet. What was the other one? Oh, I had a really long one of I respect your opinions, but let's make one thing clear: the Bible and Christ does not and has never tolerated sin. And there's like a whole list of the ones of women should be silent in churches, ask their husbands. Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Being queer is also a sin. All of that. Again, something I fully expect from deconstruction internet spaces. Those are normal, not necessarily aggressive, but are sharing that they disagree with me. Fully expect things like that. And then we go to just like somebody who watched not even 30 seconds, and I even checked in a lot of these, somebody who watched not even 30 seconds of the video that I said, his name is Chad. So the blunt force lack of awareness is shocking. Every time, this is not correct grammar, every time I missed to a member of Generation Tide Pod. I wanted to say something about tearing down being easy and creation being the hard part. You are a pigeon playing chess. So not only do they disagree with me, but I am apparently of the Tide Pod generation, which, if I remember correctly, is Gen Z. I am a millennial. I'm 32 years old, so I don't know how old this person thinks I am, but I am aware that I look younger. And also that I want to say something about tearing down being easy and creation being hard. They think I'm tearing down the church by saying, hey, you've caused harm. And I'm also a pigeon playing chess, so we've reached the insult portion of these. So, and then from there, we get, let's save him for last because he's fun. We have a Rick. I'm really trying to put this as gently as possible, which means they're not. You are simply wrong in trying to fog the issue with word salad, and nonsense catchphrases. Who or whatever you're listening to, stop it. You seem to have so much more potential than a sock puppet culture who are manipulating you. Not all voices are worthy to be heard, sweet lady. I don't even want to read them because they make me just like, what are you saying? So apparently my entire video was word salad. I'll link the video down below if you haven't seen it, because I don't know if a lot of my regular viewers watch it, because it's obviously not booktube content and I mostly post booktube content, but I've been trying to branch out a lot. And apparently I just said word salad. I also had somebody insult me for having like misspeaking like a single word in there somewhere, and I was like, that was all you pulled from this? Okay. So, and the who or whatever you're listening to, stop it. I'm listening to other human beings who have been hurt by the church. How dare I listen to other people's voices, you know, hear other perspectives. Crazy, crazy talk. Don't do that. I can't with some of the people. And apparently, I'm part of the sock puppet culture for asking the church to have accountability. And then not all voices are worthy to be heard, says the person in my comments section who's had a YouTube for probably a short period of time, or maybe they just enjoy trolling people for someone who's had a channel for 8 years. So there's that. And then we have the sassiest of somebody who, this is, I have their username up there if you would like to go see all of this, because I'm not screenshotting all of it. It's literally, he keeps going back and forth with me. I also looked up, they are very clearly a Christian, and I don't think they post their own content, but I think this is what they do in general with their days, is comment on deconstruction videos or people they disagree with and just argue all day long, which sounds like quite the time. And so we have I called him a bigot because he was saying that being gay is wrong and everything like that, which is on par with what he was saying. Prove a single claim. I didn't post this nonsense video that I've gracefully deconstructed as very propaganda indoctrination, claiming that the enemy uses. I didn't say anybody was the enemy, but okay. Also, they spent their entire day posting like 6 comments on a, I think, 6-minute video. Quite the choice. Where was the one that I really wanted to talk? Oh, there was. They said, I don't think being gay and DI are bad because they are simple. I think they're illogical, incoherent, and scientifically proven to be incongruous with reality. So you're on the wrong channel. Which is honestly a new argument that I have not seen before in my knowledge. So they're saying that being gay is bad, not because it's a sin, even though it is a sin, but because it is incongruous with reality. Because it doesn't, I'm assuming they mean, and if I'm wrong, I'm sure they'll correct me if they happen to stick around. I'm assuming they mean that it means that you can't multiply as a species, even though we have the technology to do that if people who are queer need assistance in that way, such as getting a surrogate, or that not all queer people do not all queer people are, just because they don't associate with the gender that they were born with doesn't mean that they don't still have a uterus that is still usable, you know? So I called them a bigot. And as far as I know, that was the end of this commentary. But also, they've been going at me for like days at this point with these comments. So I've just stopped because this is what I like to call a completely pointless conversation, in the sense that if you are, my goal wasn't to change their mind, it was to tell them, hey, you're being a bigot. And I know I'm not going to change their mind, but there are certain arguments in my like view of the world that there are no point in having, because the person just wants to be mean, just wants to be angry, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so I don't find those type of conversations necessarily worth it, especially if it's a stranger who I don't know. Don't care. Not my problem. You go about life thinking all of that if you would like. You're wrong, but you go right ahead. So yeah, those are the type of comments I've been dealing with. If you would like to see more of them, this is the video. I don't know if I've put that up or not. It's at quite a few more views than I'm used to getting in like a week. I don't know if it was the thumbnail or what. Maybe YouTube really does like the new thumbnail things, but that has been my experience of the last week, and why my weekly vlog didn't go up last week, because I was fielding so many of these comments for like 5 days straight. And I'm very much, if I am not in the mood to film, I'm not going to. So yeah, if you have any commentary on those, let me know. If you've ever had to deal with Christians who are still harassing you on the internet, even though you were trying to talk about how you are not, and that's an okay thing to be. I keep saying I don't know what made the Christians so angry in the last couple of years, other than the obvious being that a lot of them are hardcore Trump supporters and only listen to what he says or what the Fox News says or things like that. That is also its own cult amongst a Christian cult, but it's exhausting. And the people who do deconstruction content like full time, which I know there's quite a few of them. I don't know how you guys do this all day. Like Monty Mater, one of my favorite creators, highly recommend going to check her out. I'm sure she gets twice as much like hate comments as I do because she has a huge platform and she also looks the absolute opposite of like what Christians tend to like. She's very like rock inspired, like her entire outlook and appearance and the way she is very aggressive with the people that she interacts with. And then like Tim and April, Tim is a white man, so I don't feel like he doesn't get as much hate, but like also April has a whole YouTube channel where she like literally mocks Christians, so I can't imagine the type of hate comments that she gets. But yeah, that's where my life's been the last week or so. So I'm debating whether or not to film my 24-hour reading vlog tonight or tomorrow, which it'll be up about a week after this one goes up, whenever I end up filming it. But yeah, when I go through all of this footage, I will go back and actually try to decide if I'm going to try to finish the Dungeon Crawler Carl in this video or not. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how much footage ends up being kept in the process. Hello, hopping on here to end this vlog because I edited most of it last night and I'm starting my 24-hour reading vlog, but I am not going to finish this in this video. I know I've mentioned it a few times, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a rainbow emoji in the comments down below. And I would really appreciate it if you would stick around and subscribe. I've been really trying to do all of the mediums to continue to grow my channel after being stuck at the current like subscriber count that I've been for like 2 years. So if you've stuck around, I really appreciate it. If you want to see me finish this, I might finish it in my 24-hour vlog. We'll see. Kindle says I have 6 hours left, so not sure if that's gonna happen, but I hope y'all enjoyed this, and I will see all of you guys next time.